Today is April the 25th, 2024. My name is Tanya Finchum. I'm with Oklahoma State University with the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. I am in Bartlesville, Oklahoma, to speak with Ann Cleary, a longtime OLLI supporter. We'll get into that in just a little bit. And she was instrumental in getting OLLI established here in Bartlesville. Thank you for letting me come today. Before we get into OLLI, let's learn a little bit about you and start as far back as you wish.
Well, you'll have a lot of years to cover.
That's perfectly fine.
But I'm a proud Ozark hillbilly. Grew up over in an area near Branson. But my hometown, I was born actually in a tourist court just from the 1930s on the edge of Forsyth, Missouri. But that town no longer exists because the lake went in, both shoals, and they had to knock everything down and roll houses up the hill to higher ground. So it's called Forsyth today, but it's not the town that is my hometown.
And a tourist court?
Yep.
People might not, well, just generation.
Tourist cabins.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not very big, but I've laughed ever since I found that bit out. And my mother was a one-room school teacher.
Okay.
And she and my dad moved to Tulsa when I was 4 and then promptly got divorced. So I started school early at Riverside School, best school I went to. And I went to 9 different grade schools before I was 10. Then I went back to my hometown of Forsyth, and it was war years, things were kind of crazy. And my mom was working at Spartan School of Aeronautics in Tulsa.
Okay.
Yeah. And poor dad was a hopeless alcoholic. He was the best, kindest, a good daddy, but he was not able to make it. So anyhow, I started school in Tulsa, and then Mom married a Catholic, so I was put into Monte Cassino boarding school there when I was 6. By that time, I'm in 2nd grade. And then we moved to New Mexico, and then we left the stepfather and went to Texas, and then we came back to Tulsa, So I went to live with my grandmother back at our family's homesteaded 1880s something cabin, log cabin in the depths of the area around Pro Tem and Cedar Creek, Missouri. And it's now close to Bull Shoals Lake. Anyhow, that was really, I like to say I've grown up in 3 centuries because my life there with Grandma, we had no electricity, no phone, of course, no car, no indoor plumbing. We got our water from the hand-dug well down at the bottom of the hill. And what else? But we had a good life there. She was a wonderful cook, and we gathered wild things. I got to hold the basket. Grandma would get the mushrooms and stuff.
Was it just the 2 of you?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. It was pretty, I went to school, crossed 2 creeks to get there, and I was the only kid. There were only like 11 of us that came regularly to this one-room school, West Roads. And
how had she ended up there?
Oh, that's where Grandma got married when she was 15 and raised 10 children there. Yeah, it was her home.
She had been, okay.
Yeah, her father had built it earlier, homesteaded.
And so when were you born, to give us
37, the end of 37, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, 45-ish, we've got that, yeah.
Yeah, so anyhow, let's see, yeah. So it,
no running water. And no indoor plumbing.
But the school was wonderful. We had all 8 grades in one place, and it was, I look back on it now, we had no near neighbors. Sometimes I would walk home with the Hankins kids, and they lived, of course, on the other side of the school from me, and I'd walk up the creek bottom with them, and then I'd take the long road home. Enough of that. It was wonderful existence. I'm glad it happened, you know.
Would your mother or father, for that matter, send her money to, or
You
did
know,
she
I
just do
don't
it?
know.
She just did it.
I don't know. And
Adults
she
kept
made
that to
occasional
themselves.
visits. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And Dad would send me things for Christmas, and then part of that, Grandma and I, we lived for a while on the neighboring ranch, and I think she worked as a cook and cleaning people for them person. Yeah. And we lived at my uncle's when he came to Nowata, Oklahoma. He and his wife had separated, and so Grandma and I and their son, their only child, I'm an only child, obviously. It made it a lot easier on my parents. Anyhow,
Well, I didn't
we
know I was
lived
going to
there.
ask that because with
Yeah.
remarriages, there could be
Yeah, I look back on those
siblings.
years and I think, golly, I spent all those times in city apartments and boarding houses and way off in the hills, and it was pretty lonely. But when I was 10, or almost 10, I got to Forsyth, my hometown, for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. That was the longest I'd ever stayed anywhere.
Okay.
And because I'd been to school at Branson and Springfield and Tulsa, a couple of places, and, you know, Texas and New Mexico. I mean, it was just crazy. But I was there, and I had a best friend, and I was a cheerleader, and I was happy. I'm telling you, it was a great existence.
Life was good, huh?
Yeah. And then when I was 12, I went off to high school, boarding high school.
12.
Yeah.
Wow.
I started early, and I think they lost track of some of the grades there in that one-room school. You know, it's just everybody.
But you could pass the tests and keep
Oh,
moving.
yeah,
Keep
yeah.
moving. Okay.
I had no problem. And I went to School of the Ozarks, and that's where my mother and aunts had gone. It's now college at the Ozarks.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a lot different now than when.
Did you have to work your way
Yeah, we
through
worked. We worked 20 hours a week for our room and board and education, and it was fun. I loved. Those were the 4 best years of my young life. Really.
So what were some of your jobs?
Well, interesting. All the freshman girls, or most of them, were waitresses. Yeah,
Okay.
and that was kind of fun. Except I was chosen one time to wait on what we call the bullpen. That's where the potential donors and Dr. Clark, who was the president of the school, or Dr. Good, you know, the teachers would be in this special area. And one time they had this guy, he was in F Troop. Now then, I'll not remember his name. Oh, he was a big famous movie star, anyhow, blonde, and he came to visit. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, I just can't remember.
Okay.
But I was serving him strawberry shortcake. He came in his white linen, you know, pantsuit, and I dumped it. I served his lap. So I was never chosen to be a waitress for them anymore. Instead, I got to be the dairy boys' waitress. And that meant I had to go there early because they were out milking the cows and everything. And they were rowdy bunch. But that was where I ended up after the rest of the school year.
What were some of your other ones? Did you do that every?
Well, no, I got chosen to be at the guest house, and that was a maid. And I was supposed to be washing it was a maroon colored bathtub. I'd never seen anything like it. And instead, I was in playing the grand piano that was in the living room. And the house mother came in with a guest and said, "You're supposed to," and I got up and burst into tears and said, "I don't want to be anybody's maid." So I was fired on the spot and sent to the work boss. Mr. Holderby. I still remember his name. He put me, this is my sophomore year, to cleaning the senior girls' dorm. That meant I had a lot of bathtubs to wash. And the best thing though, I got to run this power waxing machine, that whirled around. It makes beautiful patterns, and so I had all these hallways so that was not bad. And then, interestingly, my last 2 years I worked in the library, which was in the basement of the girls' senior dorm. We only had enough money to take care of donated books. So there was 2 parts to the library, the part that we kids could use and another room as bigger as my whole downstairs. That was for inappropriate books. Of course, I had a key, and that's where my education. I read Freud, I read all of these things in that room that I couldn't get access to. And I was able to do that because our librarian, Miss Lamb, bless her heart, she would spend half of the year at School of the Ozarks, and then for half of the year she went to a similar school, except for black children, in Mississippi called Piney Woods. And it's still going too, just like Essevo, School of the Ozarks. Anyhow, Piney Woods is where she spent 1 semester every year. So I was in charge, and it was very nice. I held cheerleading practices in the basement because we wouldn't disturb them. Oh, I'm going on and on. But the thing about the librarian, when I was 14, Mother moved to Bartlesville and Phillips Petroleum. And of course, I wanted to find the library first off. And my friend Ann Browse said, "Did you know that our librarian got fired last year because she was a communist?" That's what people say. She was a communist. But my mother said, no, it's because she let black people go with her to get lunch at the drugstore. Isn't that interesting? That was our famous, now in some circles infamous, librarian, Miss Ruth Brown. Okay. Have you heard of her?
That name sounds familiar. I don't know the background story.
Yeah, well, she was a librarian here from 1919 until the years around, what's his name, the early 1950s.
All I can think is McCarthy, but that's
not right.
It.
That's the McCarthy period. And she ran afoul of our quite conservative city here in Bartlesville.
And you were here during that time?
I was here, I came
after?
in 52, yeah, and I was 14. So but I was going into my next year, junior year of high school. Anyhow, it turns out that where Miss Ruth Brown, when she left here in 1950 or 51, I can't remember, guess where she went? To the Piney Woods. So my librarian, Essevo, must have known her.
Must have.
But she never talked to me about anything. That was the thing. Back then, grown-ups, or at least the grown-ups in my life, they never talked to me. I mean...
not even to say, do you want to be a librarian?
No, I don't remember that. We didn't have a counselor at School of the Ozarks. Mother had moved to Atlanta with Phillips. So when I graduated, I got on the train and went to Atlanta. She had come back for my graduation. And it was, I loved Atlanta. It was like a foreign country,
Yes.
And the thing that happened there is I got a Phillips scholarship. Back then, this was 1954, there were 66 scholarships, Phillips 66. And 2/3 of them were for boys and 1/3 were for girls. And that was in the description that I must have read at the time when I was filling out all those papers for it. But I guess it just went right over my head. And it wasn't till years later I was looking at a Phil News little magazine from that period that Mom had saved. And there I was, my picture, and that thing about 2/3 for boys and 1/3 for girls. And by that time, I was the mother of 3 daughters and 1 son. And I was just incensed. I couldn't believe it. I think they changed that.
Well, let's hope.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So I'm him. Anyhow, I tried to go to college there. I was working as a waitress again at the really fancy hotel, and that was just down the street from where we lived in an apartment. Anyhow, across the street is the Fox Theater that has the moving planets in the sky. It's just magnificent if you ever go to Atlanta.
Okay.
But I would go every day. I was split shift waitress. I would go downtown to the big department store, Rich's, and have pound cake and orange juice. That was my big treat. And every day I would pass Atlanta City College, their sign. So when I got the scholarship, I went into Atlanta City College, and I said, I want to sign up for, college. And the woman was very nice. Behind the, there was sort of a grill like bank tellers have.
Mm-hmm.
But she said, just a moment. And she went back, and she came back with an older woman who was not smiling at me. And they said, I'm sorry, but you're not the kind of student we want at Atlanta City College. And I said, but, I have good grades. Look, I brought my transcript. I can pay. I've got the money. I got a scholarship. She said, you are not the kind of student we want here. And I think I said, thank you, ma'am, and walked out. And it really bothered me. I hadn't even asked Mom. There again, I didn't talk to grown-ups either. It was just a big divide. Anyhow.
What kind did they take? Did you find out later?
Not until Google came into my life. Boy, I looked it up. I'd never told Mom or anybody about this. It was so shameful, to me somehow. Yeah. Well, Atlanta City College, and I think it's gone under now, but it in the late 90s when I looked this up, it was an historic HCBU, historic Black college or university. And I was trying to enroll myself there about 3 months after the Brown versus Board of Education. And they must have thought what this little redheaded freckle face with a northern accent wanted.
Were both of the women Black?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'd never talked to a Black woman. It didn't, I'm from Taney County, Missouri. Back then, I'd never been exposed to anything different from
and
German
probably not
and
much in
Irish.
Bartlesville either at that time.
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
But it just didn't click with me that would, even though I got on the Greyhound bus with my 2 suitcases or actually 1 suitcase and a cardboard box of winter clothes, and I went back to the Ozarks to Springfield and went to school at the state college there.
Oh, thank goodness it didn't deter you.
No, it didn't. It didn't. I did want to go to MU. I'd always sort of wanted to be in journalism. But Mom was fussing with her brother that was up there associated with the university, and no way are you going to Columbia. So, okay. So I just went to Springfield. It's where she and Dad had gone briefly. So
had she gone, did she graduate from college?
No, you didn't have to back then. Yeah. I had one to be a teacher. No, I had one aunt, I'll swear they told me she was 14. She had finished and was able to teach at Cedar Creek. Yeah. It was very, very much. My Aunt Gertrude, however, didn't get a job. She was just older than Mom because she was riding astride to the place where they were interviewing her. That was not ladylike enough, so she didn't get the job. But Mom She did later. She taught a long time.
Well, what time? Oh, so she's a teacher.
Yeah, and a lot of my mom's sisters were teachers.
Well, when she came to Bartlesville the first time,
yeah, she worked for Phillips.
Not teaching.
No,
doing something.
She was doing
or something.
A clerk in some. Yeah, for a long time in Forsyth. I forgot to tell you, when we went back there, and she was the clerk of magistrate court, and worked in the old, beautiful old courthouse. And on my dad's side, his father's picture hangs in the courthouse today. He was, they call him Judge Adams, but he was really the longest serving prosecuting attorney,
Okay.
in the area, yeah.
So you really call that home if someone asks you for home?
Yeah, that's my hometown.
That's your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in high school, even at a young age, what were you thinking you wanted to do for your career?
You know, I never really thought. It seems odd to me today, but I think it's pretty common with kids who grow up with some trauma and a lot of moves and things. You really don't think ahead that much. I mean, why bother?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to make friends or keep friends, I guess.
Right. I don't think I had friends because we were always moving. But I have friends like from the country school there until last year, and my last schoolmate, Wanda, died. I mean, I'm going to be 87 this year, so you know, I've outlived most of the people I went to school with.
You've got your grandmother in you then.
Yeah. No, she didn't last that long. She was taking care of me, and after we moved to the old home place, then we moved to Embarque Ranch, then we went to Uncle Howard's farm, and then we went to Branson. So I spent part of 5th grade in Branson, and she got sick there. And Mom was in school in Kansas City learning something about the airlines. She always loved. She ended up working for TWA until they moved to St. Louis out of Tulsa. Anyhow, she was a real. Dad was supposed to be the brilliant guy, but she was equally so, I'll tell you. And
well, her career was very eclectic.
Yes,
different things.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
When it was time to move, how would she explain that to you, or would she?
She didn't. That's the thing. Mother would get so upset with me because I explained things to my kids, and she'd say, "You're just asking for trouble," you know? And so that's the thing. I never knew, except I did know I was going to school at the Ozarks because she said that's where she went, and here is the forms for me to fill out, and I filled them out myself. I told them that, yes, my grandfather was from Kentucky, Letcher County, Kentucky, and that he was what? That he was a general in the Civil War. I am so embarrassed to remember that, but that's what I put on that form. I'll bet it gave Dr. Good and Dr. Clark, who knew my family,
a big chuckle.
Yes.
Well, your creative writing was in full gear at that point, too, huh?
I did a whole lot of writing for clubs and things and taking minutes and stuff like that. But honestly, and what I do, what I love doing more than the creative writing, well, no, I love editing other people's work. I hated grading papers when I was teaching English because I also had an English degree. I had a double major. And I always wanted to rewrite their papers for them, you know. And I didn't want to give anybody a bad grade. It was just agonizing. So I was really not cut out for teaching. But my students that I have had back in 7th grade when I was 20 and 8th grade, they are my friends now. Yeah. One of them lived next door to me. She finally moved, but, you know, they're my cohort because they were 8 years younger than me, 6 to 8 years.
You went through everything early.
I did, yeah. But
So let's back up to college. Then you were in Springfield.
yeah, and I graduated there.
In what year?
54.
54.
For 4 years, I was the secretary of the History and Political Science Department.
So was that your major, or you just,
Yeah.
or
But I picked up English because I liked it better. I had enough hours by the time I graduated, that.
were you planning to teach though?
No. And the way, I don't know, I didn't have a plan. There again. Well, sort of. I had a boyfriend, so I thought maybe we'd get married, but we broke up. And back then, most women didn't work in the 50s.
That's true. Yep.
It was so different, so different. No, what was it? Well, what were we talking about?
What were you planning to do when you graduated?
Oh, yeah. I was planning to go with one of my history professors. He had 2 little boys, and I was going to be their nanny, and he was going on sabbatical to South America. And that's what I planned to do. But in August, his mother-in-law died. Mm-hmm. And, of course, that just scotched the whole plans. They couldn't go. And so I got a phone call from the Bartlesville Board of Education saying, or principal saying, no, it's Board of Education. Would I like to apply for this job that was open? And so I said, yes. So I got on the bus.
How did he know to call you? Do you know how that
it happened? Never entered my mind until not too many years ago. I thought, after my mom had died, you have all these questions after. She had to have been the one who told them to call me. But at the time, you cannot imagine yes, maybe you can, what a flipperty-jibbity brain I have. It just goes off into all kinds of... And that is my young life. And then I met this he was 12 years older than me. But anyhow, I married Jim. And we had Catholic. I became a Catholic. And
we had boarding school to start, I guess.
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, except in that boarding school, I can remember. Oh my gosh, I'm sitting in mass, and my little legs, are out. Everybody else is kneeling, and I distinctly remember the priest coming down, stopping, looking at me, and saying, "So this is our little Protestant." I didn't know what a Protestant was, but I have never forgotten because it was very significant. That, and I got into trouble because I jumped up and got the big long mantillas that the older girls wore. We were supposed to wear doilies on top of our little heads, but no, I wanted the mantilla. So I was always in trouble. Oh God, it was awful. Really, I wanted nothing more than to learn how to tap dance like my best friend back in Forsyth could do. And they had dancing lessons at Monte Cassino, but I wouldn't participate. I was a disturbed child, I think. I just remember thinking no. And then I told them at this banquet one night, we had the boys from the neighboring school, over for a banquet. And I'm just, very young. But I'm eating ice cream, white ice cream, with a red heart in the middle of it. And I start crying. I don't know. I think I was just so sad. So I told the nuns I thought I was dying. And what did they do? They put me in a cab and sent me to my aunt and uncle that lived over in West Tulsa, across the river, which is wonderful. They were wonderful people. But I think back now, golly, times sure were different.
Yes.
Then they eventually put me on a Greyhound bus by myself to go to meet my mom in, I guess, Dallas. And Mom and I then took the bus to Las Vegas, New Mexico, where she and Jim Irvin, my stepfather, were living. So, yeah. I always said if I wrote my autobiography, it would be titled, I grew up in the seat behind the driver on a Greyhound bus. Oh, this is too much.
No, you're doing great.
Uh,
So you married and you became a Catholic?
and then I immediately became a mother of 4
And was
in
that here
7 years. Yeah,
Bartlesville?
yeah. And when Celeste, my middle child, before my last child, Heather, was born, we moved here in this house. So
Okay.
they have mostly grown up. Kevin and Karen got to, and Celeste, when she was little, got to live in the old house.
So your roots are pretty well planted.
They're here, but I still feel I'm still an Ozarker. Give me a creek, and I'm happy. I mean, that's...
Shoes or no shoes?
No shoes. We didn't even wear them to school when the weather was good.
Yeah, I can remember getting a lot of bee stings because I didn't like shoes in the summer.
And
either.
the clover was so cool and soft. Yes, and they loved the clover. The bees did. Yes.
So how did you meet your husband?
At a dance at the Y. Yeah.
Okay.
They had quite a active group, and then I sort of, joined in with the Catholic kids, and
you were teaching at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but he said no wife of mine, who's going to teach. He was old school Catholic from Chicago, and yeah, so that lasted. After I quit, I got married in November and quit teaching. The end of that year, my 3rd year. And I stayed home like 6 weeks, and I was bored out of my gourd. So I went to work for Phillips again. I'd worked for them during the summers in college. So they hired me right on and put me in the library with a secret clearance, and I worked in government documents there. In this little room, just my boss and Nadine and I were allowed in. They had a locked door that had the Dutch door with the open, so people would come and stand there and talk to us. So I did that, but then I was having trouble with the pregnancy with Kevin, so I had to stay home. Yeah, I had to quit the job and stay home. And like from then on, I stayed home and raised kids. I had no idea. But I'm telling you, I was so easy with pregnancies and had the babies like that. It was my calling, really.
I'm thinking you would have been great with help with homework.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
With the writing, especially.
Well, yeah. And I did a lot of, work at school, and a friend and I, oh my gosh, we ran the diocesan youth camp a couple of years, maybe 3 years. Yeah, people came from all over, and I don't think we slept during that entire week. But anyhow, when I was 40-ish, I got baby Heather into, school, 1st grade. And I had always wanted a master's degree. So I took the GRE, and Tulsa University gave me a scholarship. And so I spent the next 5 years there. I mean, I got the master's in the requisite 2 years. But then I stayed on and did all the coursework for a doctorate, too. I didn't pass the, what do you call it?
You were ABD?
I'm ABD, yes.
Or comps or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But it was wonderful. Oh my gosh, we had the best English department, graduate school. I was Germaine Greer, if you remember who Germaine Greer. Oh my gosh, she wrote The Female Eunuch. She was an Australian woman made news. She still does. That crazy lady. She was brilliant, but she was She was briefly married to the same guy that married, who is the black poet that is so wonderful? See, I can't remember names anymore.
I can't help you there.
But anyhow, yeah, Jermaine Greer, if you're old enough, you should really remember her.
I will Google when I get back.
Okay.
So what year did you graduate from Tulsa?
I stopped going there in 80. Well, I graduated my master's in 79.
Okay.
And I just spent another
Were
80,
you commuting?
81, 82. Oh, yeah, I was commuting. I was teaching, Comp 101 classes. And then I worked at the McFarland Library in the rear book room. I loved that. Yeah.
You should have been a library.
I know. I should have. And my youngest daughter, bless her, did become a librarian. She started out in high school getting the local libraries' sessions files digitized, and they got rid of the Dewey. I mean, not the Dewey Decimals. They got rid of the card catalogs. Yeah. So
that's a sad day, wasn't it?
Yes, it was actually. But anyhow, Heather went on to MIT, and of all things, when she went, they have the kids take a junior year abroad or in a different area. She went to Reed College, which is far out. I didn't know anything about Reed College. I do now. And she got her degree there, and then went to UCLA for library science.
Okay.
And she now is the head librarian at the Otis School of Art and Design, this old art school in LA that's very
she's
noted.
A long way from home then.
Yes. Oh, I used to have one in New York, one in LA, one in Texas. That was Karen, and one in Tokyo, and that was my son. Yeah, he had gone to Chicago, got a law degree, and passed his, what is the thing where you do bookkeeping, CPA, the same summer, believe it or not. And he fell in love with this Japanese woman who was there getting her degree from the Art Institute, Naoko Fujiwara. And so they got married, and he lived in Japan from then on. He became head of the, Japanese American language something. Anyhow, it was the Language Teachers Association, and he was the president, and he died one night when he had one of those massive heart attacks. He was there having dinner right before a conference in Kyoto, and he had he sort of fell down on the floor, and he was such a cut up. They thought he was, just funning him at first, but no. And so the girls and I and Karen had her son by then, Evan, and we got passports on a really fast basis in LA, thank goodness, and flew there, and he was still hooked up, but he wasn't there. Yeah. That was the saddest. I still can't talk.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you gave them all with your background that you had.
I know. I was so proud. Celeste went to Columbia University, Barnard College, and graduated from there. And Karen graduated from TU. And yeah, they all had really good. But those years at TU, I loved Dr. Weathers was my major professor. And
were you still married at that time?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Jim and my mother were having fits about all this, but it was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to teach English when I got through. I had this shiny new master's, but Bartlesville said, "No, you've got that history degree, and we one of the coaches is moving up. We need you in history. So they stuck me in 7th and 8th grade social studies at Madison.
Mm.
And I kept, every year I would ask. And finally, after year 5, I quit. And I haven't been a teacher since. I admire the ones that, and I love, my students. I just edited a book of one of my 7th graders. He wrote an amazing book called You Don't Really Have to Read This. And it's a collection of essays that he does every month for the Bartlesville magazine. And they are wonderful, and some that weren't in the magazine, of course. But it's just Jay Webster.
Okay.
Yeah. And his book is out now, and I urge everyone to read it. It is so well done. He is so funny and yet so from the heart, just a good person on a good life and he married another 7th grade student whose family lives here in town, and Jeanette, and it's just, I love having all of these threads and connections. It's just so wonderful.
Yeah. So, speaking of threads, do you quilt?
No, but my mother did. My grandmother did. Grandma, there at the cabin, she had this thing hanging in the kitchen. She'd let the quilting frame down. Yeah, and quilt on that. Sometimes she'd have a couple of friends in and they would quilt. Yeah.
Good memory too, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So after 5 years of teaching this round, then what? How did you spend your time?
One of my friends I'd made in grad school, her husband was running Hallett Motor Racing Circuit for Tolly Artunoff, who's a Bartlesville boy, a little older than me. Well, she called me one day in summer vacation, said, "You know how to type? Help." Mike's secretary threw up her hands and quit. Well, I knew Mike, and I thought, this is probably not going to be good. But I went down there, and it wasn't type, it was computer. They didn't know how to turn it on. So it was Tolly's personal computer he had given to the track. This enormous, what is that?
Monitor.
Yeah, the whole thing was just
CPU or whatever. Yeah,
gigantic, and they don't make them anymore, and I think the store that made them is closed now. It's a famous, brand. Anyhow, I called Karen, my daughter, who's the math major, believe it or not, at TU, and I said, "Talk me through this." She did. What buttons to push to get it. And then I could type once I got there. But I still remember to move anything, I had to type shipwrecked. All these little codes and everything. But it was fascinating. And so I went to work full time for them, and I worked at the track in their office and out at the Hallett track. And that was fun because everybody that came as our customers loved what they were doing. So it was so happy. When I was teaching, honestly, that was the year I marched, when we went to Oklahoma City to get, that was almost unheard of back then, but we teachers actually went down and protested in a march. Everybody was griping, and it was all so, negative. And then to go to work for some place where everybody loves what they're doing.
So what year was the strike?
Was it 89? I can't remember.
Wrote in there.
Yeah. Anyhow,
So from stress to
yeah,
fun, I guess.
Yeah, and I had meanwhile I got a divorce, and when I finally got Heather in school, the 4th, because I knew Jim would go. And he tried, but, he ended up having to help with the expense of college. And
so how long were you married?
20-some years. Yep.
And the entire time you lived in Tulsa, so I mean
Bartlesville. Yeah, met him here, and yeah, and I loved his family. His mom, oh my gosh, I loved Mrs. Cleary. Yeah.
Were you married? Did you actually get married in Bartlesville?
Yes, in St. John was building our new church. It wasn't available. They said, well, you can go to Dewey and get married in the church up there. But we were having church in the gymnasium. They had put a purple velvet thing over the basketball goal, and so I got married in the gym of St. John's School. I laughed and said, I have to make a basket when I say I do. And some of my students came, and some of the ladies that would come to every mass that was offered, they were there, usually wearing their black clothes, It was just wonderful. It really was. I had bridesmaids and everything. I'll never forget Tom Ward, the florist here. He worked as sort of a bridal consultant. And I went in and I said, okay, these are my colors. And I want a cake and I want this. He says, I wish all of my brides could be like you. I didn't know any different. In our family, my family back home, you do not miss a funeral and you do not miss Decoration Day. But nobody goes to a wedding. I mean, it just wasn't done because they didn't have weddings. They just got married somewhere. So this was all, I didn't realize that it was a big thing, But I had my bridesmaids in their gold velvet dresses and little gold velvet hair bows. I mean, and the chrysanthemums, and
it looked pretty.
It was a nice fall wedding, I thought. Yeah.
I'm thinking decorations. People don't even do that anymore, do they?
Decorations?
Cemetery. No,
oh, yeah.
I'm going back to cemetery.
Oh, my gosh. I haven't missed a year in decades.
But this current generations, I don't know.
No, thank goodness. It got pretty sparse, as we say, pretty sparse there for a while. And we quit having the dinner. Because always when I was a kid, there was the spread. In fact, the family story is when we were in Tulsa, we went back to the cemetery. And of course, it's on a dirt road. I mean, it's so far back in the hills, it's still not paved. And I said, my, what a rough street this is. But anyhow, that was my favorite. Right up there with Christmas and 4th of July was Decoration Day when I was a kid. Because I got to see other kids and my cousins, And anyhow, it went through a period. But about 10 years ago, young people started coming again.
Okay.
Bringing their kids. We started having dinners again after COVID. And
that's
so,
nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I've got it third Sunday in May. Yeah. My cousin. But there's not that many of us left. And Wanda, my schoolmate, I said, she died and wasn't there last year. So
We'll go as long as you can.
Yeah, that's right. But I'm the matriarch now. It's wonderful.
You're in charge.
Not really.
They can wait on you, huh?
It just doesn't seem real. It doesn't.
Yeah. Time has flown, hasn't it, in a lot of ways.
But I had such a wonderful time. And then even more wonderful, I got a new honey and went to live with him, live in sin in Germany. He was from Tulsa. Well, not from Tulsa, but worked in Tulsa. And so I've spent almost 5 years in the first half of the 90s. And it was nothing but vacation. I tried to get a job, but it was very hard to, you couldn't, with the Germans, you had to pretty much be a German, But in the military, because he was there as attached to the military, but he wasn't military, okay. No.
It was a civilian.
Civilian, yeah. He had been military, though, back when he was young. Anyhow, I loved it. We were in this little town outside of Frankfurt, and then we were over at the, oh God, that town's name is even gone away, the big one, where the hospital is that we still have going over there now. But it had an Air Force and installation and an Army and then the hospital. Kaiserslautern. Yeah, that's what it was. Anyhow, I loved Germany. I loved traveling. We went everywhere. It was just like being on vacation.
5 years, yeah.
Yes. Then I came back here and I worked for the Alzheimer's Association office. And then they merged with Arkansas and wanted me to just drive around, and no. So what did I do? Oh, I worked for the library. Oh, the hospital. I did public relations for them.
You would be good at that, just from what I've heard.
I was good at that, yeah. But I didn't really like working there. And I started working for the library, and I loved that. I had the worst boss, and anybody can tell you that. In local and family history, it was terrible. So I had a chance for higher pay and to work for this wonderful man, John West, who was an appraiser of antiques. And so that's what I did.
That would be fun.
Yeah. It was, yeah. And then what happened? Lots of things, like I got cancer, really rare adrenal cancer. I'm lucky to be alive because most don't make it more than a year or two. I just am lucky. I have gone in with a bellyache to the ER because I never have stomach problems, and it was really bad. It was nothing but, I think, constipation or something. But they saw this mass. And so I couldn't find a doctor in Tulsa or here who was going to do anything. They kept testing and saying, well, we don't know. Thank goodness they didn't do anything, because doing a biopsy, if you've got an adrenal tumor, don't have a biopsy done. You have it taken out and then biopsy, because it can spread the cancer germs.
So where did you have to go?
I emailed Mayo Clinic and I said, can you help me find some place or tell me what to do? They called me and said, can you be up here next week? And actually it was 2 or 3 weeks, but I went up there and they did a 6-hour surgery, and
wow, everything
everything was fine until I went for my 5-year checkup, which, usually, even though I know intellectually that with adrenal cancer, you're never really cured because it's sneaky. It's really an awful thing. It just breaks my heart to read, the stories on this group I'm in online. Anyhow, they found that I had a metastasis. It had started up again in my spinal column, up C4 in the cervical area. That was what was causing my shoulder to hurt. So I had radiation, and that meant they had to put this plastic net on me and fasten it to the table, and something in my mouth so I couldn't move that. I mean, talk about being...
And you were aware you weren't knocked out.
I wasn't knocked out. They do knock out people for that, and I said, do that. No, you'll be able to. They gave me some kind of happy pill, to take.
Okay.
But, and after the first time or two, you realize that you will survive. And I just would go somewhere. I'd pray or do something in my head, And so anyhow, then I went back in January, and it was working, the radiation was, and I go back in a couple of weeks and see if it's still working. So, yeah. So
And is that
That's
done
my
in Tulsa
story.
or is it?
No, MD Anderson.
Oh, MD Anderson.
Yes, my daughter Karen, my oldest daughter, she's the one that's the medical miracle, I'm telling you. She had in grad school, she was at TU in the math grad school. She came down with swollen glands. I took her in here, and they biopsied and said, we don't know what's causing it. Just tell her to get on with her life, But I didn't. I took the test to Tulsa, and it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so we took her to MD Anderson
In
Houston, and they did the surgery and biopsied all of her all over her body. Anyhow, it was a terrible surgery, just exploratory. She said they don't do that anymore. And turns out she is a long-term survivor. But what it did, the radiation that they used to kill the cancer, made her heart very inflexible. And so she went on a pacemaker, and that still wasn't helping enough. And she had 3 months before last Christmas in the hospital down there in Houston, where they were saying, well, we're going to do surgery, but blah, blah, this or this. And she finally went to Cleveland Clinic, and they did, she was there 3 months at Cleveland Clinic. They did the surgery, and then all that. And she says, Mom, I haven't felt this good in years. She's just wonderful. But they did everything but replace her heart, It was really complicated. Yeah. So she's the one I'm really grateful for. Yeah.
She's done some research and knows what's
yeah.
too then.
Yeah. So she's been through a lot.
So it sounds like you have too, but you're still here and you're still smiling.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, really, life has been good even with all the stuff. I think most people like that,
I don't know that most people. You have a cheery disposition, so that's probably.
I was blessed with that. I was born with that.
See, that helps in the long run, I think.
Yeah. That and being just like, not really. I was so naive, far longer than I should have been.
But you survived.
I survived. That's right. I will survive.
Well, when I first came in, you were talking about taproots. Are we there yet? We're probably not
there
yet.
Probably not. You
Not
wanted to
yet.
talk about OLLI classes?
Okay, yes, we can.
Yes, I had a friend here, and one day she mentioned OLLI, and she says, I'm going to Tulsa for my OLLI class. What in the world is that? Well, immediately I was interested, so I started going to the OLLI classes down in Tulsa, and I kept saying, when are you guys going to Ruth Ann, who was running the program from Stillwater, when are you going to come to Bartlesville? We have this aging population there, It's perfect for you. And they did, by golly.
How long did it take from the first time you said, can you?
A few years.
A few years.
Yeah, but I didn't mind at that time driving to Tulsa after all I had done all that commuting for years, going to school and then working down there, so.
What classes intrigued you with OLLI?
Just about any of them.
Any of them?
Oh, I probably won't be able to read this. Let's see.
This
started in 2013.
Here, in
10 years ago. Yeah,
okay.
They said, we're going to be, and we had classes on Bartlesville ranches and the Civil War and Indian Territory. Those are by some women that worked at the History Museum. And it occurred to me that that would have been a good place to interview me, because it's a wonderful wonderful area, Bartlesville area history museum. We had, let's see, Life on the Stage by somebody that was active in Little Theater, and the Cherokee people came up from Tahlequah and did the story of Cherokee Nation. And one that it was from the bank, Arvest Bank, The Business of Life, Getting It Right. And, you know, who did we have? We had Sally Ash as our fearless leader, and she was the daughter of my best friend who's now gone. But Sally did such a good job. Now she's moved to Tulsa. So we kept on we started with Diane Dixon, who's died last year, mental aerobics, and that was such a fun class. I'm just looking at the titles here. Nikki Hanna came up from Tulsa. She's an author, has written several fun books, and she wrote Beyond Aging Well. She is just beautiful and full of life and energy, and she's she's not as old as I am. Not close, but she's past retirement age, okay? And I see her at the writing conferences we have in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma Writers, OWFI, Federation, that's what we call ourselves, not a club, we're a federation. Well, there's all kinds of, like here we have word weavers, and so we've had a lot of OLLI classes about writing and so forth, yeah.
Would you find the instructors, or?
Yes, we find the instructors.
But you yourself, your role?
My role was doing promotion,
Okay.
public relations, writing the articles, and
Recruiting
getting
members?
and recruiting, yeah, and getting on the radio, things like that, yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
Working up your numbers. Should you have to have so many to join before they would consider it a
Well,
site?
I don't know what caused them to join. I mean, put us. Maybe it was because we were trying to raise $1 million that year. OLLI was
Okay.
to be matched by the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, which is what OLLI stands for,
Okay.
Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. And I guess adding another kind of wealthy little town's, members would help, and it did. And we did get the $1 million grant.
Okay. So
And
you were involved with OLLI at that point?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's when we
That
first
was an
got
exciting
started.
time.
It was, and it's when I met someone who's moved, sadly, from Bartlesville. Oh my gosh, see what happens to my mind? Because I know these people as well as I know myself. He worked at the radio. Charlie Taraboletti. How could I forget Charlie? Please don't let him see this. Okay, that's where I met Charlie, because I would arrange to have interviews of teachers, OLLI teachers.
Yeah.
And he said, I could teach a class on movies, the Alfred Hitchcock movies. He was a passionate aficionado of Alfred Hitchcock. Charlie was from Illinois, and that's where he and his wife moved back to. There's new grandchildren there.
It
So
makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does. But anyhow, Charlie started giving these movie classes, which were so popular, and we held them down at the Unitarian Church, and it was just wonderful. And I really hated to see him leave. But we got another wonderful movie instructor in Sydney Bramer. She and her sister Shelby moved up here from Austin, Texas, and their mother and dad were very involved with the early politicking back in the 60s. And anyhow, they're both brilliant. Shelby was in a real Hollywood movie with that I can't remember the name of, but it's about a divorced couple, and it was really hugely popular. And Sydney has been teaching writing both in the Austin Community College and here at Rogers State, but I think she's finally retired this year. And but they're just such wonderful additions to Bartlesville because they're so bright. We just put on a play with the League of Women Voters, Women's Network, which is another group that's very, very important. And the League last month during National Women's History Month put on a play about the silent sentinels and the history of women's getting the right to vote. And Shelby and Sydney were instrumental in getting that done. And I wore a hat and was carried a placard, and I was in it. Yeah, it was fun.
You have to do a little history then.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Anyhow, I just can't believe looking through this. I mean, there's pages of what we did in OLLI classes here.
So about
Look at this.
Each session would have like 2 or 3 classes here or more.
Oh, we tried to have at least 5.
At least 5. Okay.
Yeah, and we have 3 semesters a year. Fall, spring, and spring starts in February. You know, it always bothered me that they call it that. But it's like the college semester. Yeah. And then spring starts, well, you can start entering in May right now, and classes will begin in a few weeks. So,
are you still involved with helping plan some of those?
Yes, yeah.
So executive committee or board or whatever they call it.
Yeah, and we have a new leader, Amy.
That's good enough.
Yeah. And she whips us all into
She's the site coordinator.
Yeah, she is.
That's the right term, isn't
it?
It
is.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
So how much, like during a month's time, how much time of your time do you spend helping with OLLI?
Not that much during the month. In the preceding each semester, then it's several hours. But
that's not too
yeah.
bad then.
No, most of my hours are spent going to OLLI classes.
Well,
yes.
After 10 years, you've got it down pat, I guess.
Well, you know what? I during the COVID time,
yeah, we need to talk about
they
that.
started. Oh my gosh, they started adding these wonderful online classes, and that fits me just fine. I mean, people think I'm an extrovert, but honestly, I can go for weeks without leaving the house if Celeste will bring in the groceries to me. I mean, I just love being able to have these classes on the computer, and they have such interesting ones. I mean, some professor in California talking about the Nixon years, some, oh gosh, there is a woman in South Carolina that used to be in Tulsa, and she does a book club. And one time they had a museum in New York City taking us around, you know, showing us up close all these things. I mean, things I would never be able to have if it weren't for OLLI's online program. And my favorite of all time is, believe it or not, Little House on the Prairie. You know, we have a site up here about 30 miles north of Bartlesville and a few miles south of Independence, Kansas, where the Little House on the Prairie was. So our OLLI class has been up there and explored, but better than that, we have a class that's gone through so far 7 of the 9 books. I think there's 9 in the series. We started with book 1, and we're just working our way through. And it is the most wonderful class because everybody keeps coming back for it. We're all best friends online now, even though we don't live in the same cities at all. And
that's a nice side perk, isn't it, to get
it
make
is.
connections.
Making friends has been a really wonderful
on site and guests. I mean,
yeah,
that's one of the benefits.
Right.
From OLLI.
Right. Yeah. And we have a great teacher, you know.
Yeah. Well, how do they find these people that are doing them online, like the California guy or the New York guy? I mean, what?
I think that some of it comes from the national OLLI thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
But here, we get together, our little board, and we just throw out names, and usually Amy will call them and see if she can get them set up. That's how we do it. We just from
brainstorm.
That's it exactly.
And if they say no, move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And you have repeaters.
Yeah, we have repeaters, especially the two that worked in the history museum. Yeah, they could always be counted on. Yeah, to give a class. And there was they go through cycles. We have a retired astrophysicist from NASA, and he's done some really interesting classes.
Wow.
That you would not otherwise get to see, and know about the ins and outs of.
Are most of the members women or males?
I think they're pretty
mixed.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of men. I remember, this wonderful poetry class we had. Now, you wouldn't expect men to be, that's judgmental, but we met over at the West Side Community Center for the Black community, and Morris McCorvey, who's taught a lot of classes because he is a born genius teacher. Morris taught a class, more than one, on poetry. I think there were probably close to 30 people in it, and it was all these guys, and it was wonderful. Yeah. Oh gosh, Morris has been a mainstay. Talk about somebody who teaches more than one. He's done one on jazz. He's done a couple on the novel. It's one of my favorite novels. What is it? The 1961. Oh gosh. Well, can't remember that either. Yeah, I have this. This is really distressing to me. It's like names. I just go into a complete blank. I need therapy. Or a pill or something.
No, that just tells you you've got a lot going on up in there.
No, it's my mother used to say, "Oh, I'm getting Alzheimer's." I'd say, "No, it's just you're getting old." Now that it's happening to me.
I think you're doing great.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
So has the site changed where you do these?
Yeah, we have several sites. Some of my favorite sites were the Arvest Bank on the east side because they had a nice big room for us. And, let's see. And everybody loves the treats that the site coordinator always provides. We also have met, as I say, at the Unitarian Church a lot, and the library. The library has a wonderful facility here.
And most of that's free.
OLLI
doesn't have to pay for it.
Yes.
Have you had a site that just didn't quite work out that you won't go back to?
You don't
have to say the name, but
no, I can't remember one being like that. And talk about the Taproots.
Yeah.
Women's Network is a group of women here that publish these. There's like 50 women were interviewed in a period from 1993, I think, till 2013, somewhere in that 20-year period, they published 7 books with interviews. And a friend of mine who was also involved with the publication, we did an OLLI class one time on.
That would be fun.
Yeah. It was. I think we need to do another one.
Yes.
The woman who was storing all of our history and materials, Jan Dreiling, she was a district judge here, and she decided to move back to her hometown in Kansas. So, thank goodness the local history museum said they would store it for us. And
yes, definitely keep it.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Yeah,
somewhere.
And they're also selling these Taproots books, so we just let them keep whatever proceeds. I think they sell for $5 or something. They're fabulous reading. I mean, really, if I do say so, it is. I'm going to go back and reread. I was reading them. I missed the publication of the first one because I was in Germany, and I came home. I shouldn't tell this story, but I will. I came home, and Celeste was living here in the house, she and her husband, and she showed me very proudly this book, and I started reading through it, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I went, what? I had found a typo. It was not just, let me see if I can find, it was not just this is volume 1, a little typo. I looked at this to make sure that I had one that could be published online, shown on your site, because we had made a terrible, the typo was here. Aunt Tate was the kind of person whose love overflowed if she loved you. Okay, Aunt Tate's last name was misspelled because of one of the letters. A significant letter was left out. Yes, so all of these books had to be returned. You see, that's and supplanted with a.
Well, I'm assuming you didn't edit this one.
No, I didn't. It was the only one I didn't, but I did find it. The when I was reading it
through, huh?
Yes. So
and so you edited the rest of them?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Did they interview you for it?
No, they never did. We were trying to get people that were actually elderly. In fact, I was looking through, and the first 3, I don't think there's anyone still alive that's in them. It used to be, oh my God, I don't want to be on that.
Well, did you do any of the interviewing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you know
we were given, I'm telling you, the woman that, Harriet Guthrie, this was her brainchild. And she lived out in the country. She had a doctorate in education and taught for a while at the local college. She moved here from Kansas City, I think. Anyhow, Harriet was one of my favorite people in the whole world. She had a packet for us that had the questions that we needed to ask in an interview, and she was so methodical in keeping us all on track and, what we were doing. And when she moved, we thought, oh God, we went into a long hiatus. But Jan Dreiling was on the board or chairman or something. Anyhow, she said, we're going to get this done, So we all worked hard and got that last volume out. And we hope that some younger women will pick it up and
series 2 or something.
Yeah, because Jan's gone, and Joan Dreisker, who did so much. She and I are the ones who did the Taproots. The OLLI interview, the OLLI class on it. Anyhow.
Well, maybe if you do the class again, it will start interest in around too.
I'm thinking how to do this, because it really is not just history. We had such a variety on purpose, and thanks to Harriet. We had the really rich people in town, like Carolyn Price, and maybe somebody who worked for her, a Black woman who was a maid. And we had her story, which was equally fascinating. And but it was fun seeing connections. Carolyn Price and Jody Kerberger, who ran a fabulous art studio here, she sold Richard Schmid paintings that go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. She had, in my backyard, literally, I would get a cup of coffee and go up and wander and look through Jody's window to see what all she had. But anyhow, it turns out Jody, who lived in the Chi-Chi part of Tulsa growing up, her dad was president of where my mom worked there at Spartan. And who was it? Oh, Carolyn Price and Jody, both were skaters, ice skaters in Tulsa at the time. So they were friends back then. And Jody went to Monte Cassino at the time, or close to the time when I was there. It's just fun to see all kinds of,
paths cross sometimes and you don't even know it till later.
But the women in here that are interviewed, it's because they made a difference of some kind in our town's life. And so we've got politicians and artists and musicians and, general hellraisers. We've just got, one is a nun. Oh my gosh, she was something else. It's just interesting reading, really.
It's a good tapestry.
Yeah.
That's good. Wow, you've done some amazing things. Going back to your list, you took a creative writing class as part of OLLI?
Oh, yes, yeah. And
did you have to write something for it?
We did. We were writing, and some of them would just, Sydney, that I mentioned earlier, Bramer taught a class, more than one. And it was just amazing what she would pull out, because we were doing autobiographical writing.
Okay, that's what Ruth Ann said that I was supposed to ask you about that.
Okay, well, you got my autobiography. Oh, there was a wonderful class I took in Tulsa. And then we had one equally good up here. And it was, I've got a book. It was on PBS or NPR. There was this program called, it was people giving their autobiographical writing about something. What was it called? Talk. Well, I'll try and find that and
It'll come
tell
to you
later.
Midnight. It'll come to you at midnight.
No, it's only when I try to pin down. I think it's just.
Well, she had said she remembered your autobiography that you wrote, and that it was
really?
It was amazing, and that I should ask you to read it.
Oh,
and
no.
I'm thinking, well, if you could find it, we can attach it later. But
no, you know what is really funny? I told you that grown-ups really didn't talk to me. So, I mean, I heard least said, soonest mended, little pitchers have big ears. My grandmother spoke to me, I'm not exaggerating, almost entirely in aphorisms in those years I lived with her. I didn't get family stories or anything like that, which makes me so sad, know. And
you wonder why.
Yeah, you do. Well, I think she was really sick. She was dying of cancer, and nobody really knew.
Well, maybe her parents had done the same.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, yes. That was the other thing. You don't air dirty linen in public. And I came, unfortunately, from a flawed section of the family. I wouldn't trade my mom and dad for anybody. I love them and I respect them highly, even though they had bad reputations. So that was in the public's eye, which doesn't know the truth about things, you know. So anyhow.
How did your grandmother punish you when you would do something that she didn't agree with?
She would have me pick a switch off the bush. And the switch.
I've had to do that myself.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yes, it makes you dance.
Unless you start crying beforehand and then they lighten up.
Yes, yeah, and I was a big crier. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That distressed my family so much because you're not supposed to. But I was, and I was a coward. I was terrified of spiders. I remember coming home from West Road School one day in the, dusty tracks, and here was this spider as big as a man's hand in my path. This black, hairy spider. I'd never seen anything like it. And I thought, oh, I want to tell Grandma. But she would always say, don't you story to me. Now, there again, that's why I'm letting a writer, I think. Don't you story to me. I thought she'll think I'm lying. But I drew a picture of it, and I started to describe. She said, well, that's a tarantula. I didn't know such things existed. Yeah. Wow.
I didn't either till I came to Oklahoma.
Oh.
Yes.
And in the fall, they really get out there.
Yes.
I had a friend I met at church here, and I thought he was really nice until one day he tipped his hat to me and his pet tarantulas. And I didn't want to have anything to do with him after that. Before, I was kind of angling for a date, but not after that. No. Oh, dear.
See, even this type of thing, I think, would be interested for an OLLI class, too. Childhood memories. Lessons we learned or something.
Yeah.
Or not learned, I guess, as
Well,
the case may be.
I don't know.
So you've been with OLLI
Since it started.
Well, I mean,
Before.
Before I was thinking before 2013.
2010 probably, because I remember 2 or 3 years of going to
Going to Tulsa.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to one in Stillwater? There probably wasn't any
No.
need to if you could get to.
No, but I do know people here that have driven down there, and I have gone down to Tulsa for some classes.
Well, does Bartlesville also do like the town halls?
We just started, and ours is, of course, we don't have as much to draw on as you guys.
And then did they do the travel?
We've started
Travel
doing
classes.
that
I
too.
don't know how that works, but
Yeah. Oh, I remember one wonderful travel class. We went to Pawhuska, and at the museum, we were served an Osage lunch. It even had the grape dumplings, but it was that was such a good trip. Yeah. Now then, they're doing a lot more. I've gone up to the Little House trip, and they just had one out to the Eagle place. I call it the Avian Research Center in Circle Mountain, just west of town. Yeah.
So then that's a whole different ball game for the site coordinator, I guess, to figure out transportation and
usually,
first aid or whatever.
Yeah, we just I know I think we rented a bus one time, but mostly it's just share rides.
Well, and back when the first ones were started, like in 2013 when you were here, did you do lunch? Was there lunch?
No.
I think when they initially started in Stillwater, that was part of it. They would.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, we could order lunches for $8. Boy, it'd be $15 now, I guess.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Yeah.
And that got to be a headache, so I think they stopped.
And the coordinator would run out if they weren't delivered. Now, then some places would deliver them to us. That was fun, but not a whole lot of people stayed for them. It wasn't that popular here.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it was if you were going to do a morning class and then an afternoon class, so that in between there.
We tried to, say, hey, if you're in the morning class, stay. If you're in the afternoon, come early. But it still didn't catch on that much. So
it was a social hour too. I mean, that
Yeah.
was part of it too, was giving an opportunity to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you were selling OLLI today, what would be some of the things you would try to convince someone to be a member?
I think that it just gets you friends that you otherwise might not make, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grand way to meet people and to meet old friends and to drag old friends into it with you. So that's even more fun, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's as important, I think. And I'm the world's worst now since I'm such a stick in the mud and stay home and watch online classes, you know. But
when you do your online ones, do you do videos so you can at least see each other?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't, and they cut off the video. That doesn't.
Oh yeah, I'm in classes where almost all of them are black.
You see that? Okay.
But no, most of the ones we stay on.
And so that's been a positive side of COVID.
Yes.
More because.
Yeah.
So let's talk about COVID a little bit, because that's always going to be a question, I think, going forward. Yeah. What was that period like for you, other than OLLI?
Well, being really an introvert, even though I have the reputation. When I'm out with people, I'm very friendly, but I am satisfied. Just me and the cat, you know. So the COVID period did not bother me at all. I have 2 really good friends, and a cousin, and they're used to getting out every day, which I kind of admire about them, because one has kept her sense of fashion. She always looks like $1 million because she thinks about what she's going to look like when she goes out in public. But to me, I can stay in my nightgown all day long and not feel bad about it, you know. I'm just on my computer. Good.
Well, how would you do food during that?
Because thank goodness I have the most wonderful daughter who lives down the edge of town here. Yeah.
So would she call in orders and go pick up? I mean, they did some of that in Stillwater. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she would mask up, and she's very careful about and we shop at Aldi's a lot. She knows when people aren't there. You know, you can go at certain times and it's not as crowded. Yeah.
She's an observer of
oh my gosh, she is so. My kids are so much smarter and better at everything than I am. It's just, I am so proud of them. I really am. No, they're just.
I think that people reflecting back on you would just say the same thing about you. I mean, just listening to this. Yeah, you're a survivor, and
I'm a survivor. Yeah. But trying to think what. Oh, on the OLLI classes, though, you have a chance to just dip in and see if you're interested in learning more about something. And I think that's really, really helpful. And then there are those classes where you really get into something like, oh my gosh, those novels of 1850s, British, most famous, wrote in
I don't think I think
packets.
Of Jane Austen, but that's not right.
Right, she's, and we haven't done a lot with Jane. We should.
Well, if you were going to teach one today, what would you choose? If you were going to teach an OLLI class, not besides taproots, what would you teach?
I don't want to tell you because they might ask me, and I don't.
No, tell me.
Obviously,
it'll be a year before this comes out, so you can tell me.
I don't know.
Would it have to do with writing?
Or reading, maybe.
Reading.
I'm very interested in what other people are reading, and since I had a really highfalutin degree in rhetoric, that's what I'm interested, not so much in the telling of the tale, the story, but the tale of the telling. How did it get made? What is going on with this work? I'll tell you something that someday I'm going to have to get back to. In grad school, the first paper we had to write in Rhetoric 101, the basic class for graduate students. I hadn't been in school in 20 years, didn't have anything. He said we could take anything and just, dress it up with doing a rhetorical analysis of it. And I took this story of a Russian short story, The Overcoat by Nikolai Gogol, Gogol. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is just like the Polish Constitution of 1828 or 1832. Now I've forgotten. I mean, I was seeing all of these, like the story was, but it was written before that happened. It was weird, very weird. I mean, it was the snuff box in it correlated to Napoleon. I mean, it was just all of these things. And so I blithely wrote my paper up and won the big prize at TU's, annual graduate school. They had prizes in critical analysis, which is what I won in, poetry, which I won later.
Okay.
And what was the other one? Short story, and I won that one too. I was the only one to won all three of them. I'm really good at winning contests. Okay.
Yes.
It's embarrassing.
That's impressive. No.
But anyhow, I just was so sorry I couldn't speak Russian. I always thought if I were a true scholar, I would be, learning Russian so I could translate Gogol's personal letters, because I want to know what in the world was going on that this man was, what was he doing that?
Well, now you might be able to take a picture with your phone and Google a translation. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Except I think that letters are in a...
You have to go somewhere special to get to see them.
I'm afraid so. But that's a good idea. Who knows if...
Well, with your history background, though, you were able to make that correlation. Someone might not.
Yeah, I was just looking up, the history of the period that, and it just struck me that it's like an allegory for that overcoat was the Constitution, and it got taken away. The little guy that was so proud of his new overcoat made out of cat fur, among other things, he gets it snatched away when he goes to the big square. These people, and that's what happened to him. The Russians ended up with taking over Poland, taking their language. It was forbidden to even speak Polish. It was really bad, and that lasted for 40 years or more. Yeah, I don't know, that whole history. Poland fascinates me. One time when I was working at the library, I came in one night and my desk and my computer was occupied by a stranger, this young man. And I said, hello? He said, hi. I said, I'm Ann. And he said, oh, you're Ann. They told me I could use your desk. Do you want to? Anyhow, we made friends. He was a young Polish guy doing history research on the Indian tribes here. And the upshot of it was, I said, where are you staying? He says, Oh God, I'm at the state park, but it is so rainy. I mean, it had been raining for days, and he was in a tent there because he has no money. And I said, I've got a big empty house. I won't feed you and I won't pick up after you, but if you want to come and stay there, I just had a good feeling about him. He was like another son to me.
So where is he now?
He's back well, he's not in Poland. He went back to Poland and he met this young woman who is a PhD in history. She's from Rome, and they now live in the beautiful city. Oh, God. Anyhow, they got married and had a little boy, and they've been to visit me. They wanted me to come back and see them at the wedding, but I couldn't make it. And I just had another email just this week with the boy had won a big prize in something archery or something, yeah. And
I'm thinking he would make a good Zoom class for OLLI.
Oh,
on Poland.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you could talk him into being an instructor.
Oh,
over Zoom.
Interesting.
Can you internet? Can you?
Yeah. Well, he's
you have
very
the technology now, so
he's very outspoken.
Oh, maybe not then. Okay.
Yeah, he's very outspoken.
I know you choose
and very liberal. So am I. But I
guess those things you have to consider who your memberships are or what
right. Yeah.
Okay.
He might do well though. Yeah.
But since you want to know more about Poland, maybe have an OLLI class. Find somebody who can teach. About Poland.
Well, it's just that story fascinates me, and I've always thought I need to get back to that. But it's one of those things you don't do.
When you retire.
When I retire,
you're not there yet.
I'm not.
You're not there yet.
And I do editing for him, and I've edited the papers his wife writes for journals, so I like the editing.
That keep your connection for sure. Then that's a nice one to have.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in your semi-retirement?
Mainly for money, I enter contests like only once or twice a year, but and I edit people's books. I've edited a few here. I don't do it, professionally, but I do charge for a novel. Yeah. And I charge by the word, and I charge about 1/5, I think, of what the OWFI people that advertise online.
I wouldn't have a clue what that would be.
So. Well, they charge. I would basically charge $200 or $300 for a short novel, but those people charge $2,000 or $3,000, I think. I mean, it's really...
So are you working on a poem at the moment?
No, it's the weirdest thing. Before this contest at the library, I just sat down one night and I let it rip. I did one on my early childhood, basically. It's very autobiographical. And my favorite lines in it was something like, they had a choice to read no further. Because what was it?
Do you have it? Do you want to read it for us?
No, I don't want to read it for you.
Oh, but it would be great for
it's
posterity.
It's about airing dirty, because I'm comfortable or airing dirty laundry in public. I said 3 sheets to the wind on the clothesline, but the bed can still smell like sunshine. I like that because it just says it all. It can be, my dad was 3 sheets to the wind, on the clothesline, but the bed still smells like sunshine. I just think that's my parents' young life. Yeah.
It sounds pretty when you say it too. I mean, it's lyrical.
Yeah. Well, not all of it is. Because in the end, I apologize, but it got first prize anyhow. So, and next year I'll probably enter it in the state contest. It was too late to do it. But it was something that just poured out of me. Yeah.
Yeah, just something hit you in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
What inspiration wise? It could be anything.
It could be anything. Yeah. Yeah.
And as soon as you think of it, you have to write it down, or you'll forget it. Or
that's true. Oh, obviously. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not I like poetry, but I cannot write it. So yeah.
Well, I like all kinds of poetry, but I never thought of myself as a poet. I do now. That's my favorite.
Yeah, crazy.
The other stuff, I can just roll it out, like the thing that won first prize was on the archetypal history of apples, basically. It was such fun to write. I start with the Garden of Eden and the apple there, and I go through the Greeks, how they had the Hesperides, the golden apple, and the Trojan War, and the Swiss guy that had to shoot the apple off his son's head. That was a thing. That was one of their standard. The court would say you have to do that. Isn't that horrible?
Yes.
We have improved as a society. We're still awfully ragged, but I see the arc of justice.
I'm thinking the apple, then all the way up to the computer apple.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I ended it with my grandma and slicing the apple laterally, and you see a star in the center. And you put a piece of cheese between two slices, and then you have an apple sandwich. And anyhow.
Did she really do that for you?
No, I did it for my kids.
You
though.
did it for you. Oh.
But I brought in Grandma.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. She would have if she'd thought of it.
She would have. Yeah. We had cucumber sandwiches similar to that.
Oh.
Not because of the heart you're right.
Yeah.
Now this current generation wouldn't know what the clothesline was.
I know. And they miss so much because it smells so good.
Yeah.
It sheets out.
Good. Yeah.
I used to have a clothesline here, and now I have one on the back porch, and I do use it in the good weather. Yeah. It runs. Yeah.
Yeah, you just had a fascinating life, I think.
No.
Have you had a mentor? Anyone in particular?
Dr. Weathers at TU.
I thought maybe it might be your grandmother.
No, I wish she had. She had bobbins where she used to make lace. She would make my mother and Aunt Gertrude's dresses and coats. I mean, that woman did everything. My other grandmother, I have the carder, to card the wool, and she would weave things, and Grandma could do anything.
So you had some strong women.
And Mother could. For her 70th birthday, she wanted a new skill saw, and she made a 5-foot bookcase for my daughter Karen was in
that's impressive.
college. Yeah. And oh my gosh, she could she would take houses that were run down and redo them. She flipped houses before it was a thing. That's how she made her money in the last 20 years of her life.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can remember, oh my gosh, I would help her sometimes. I'd stand on a table holding up wallpaper. She wallpapered the ceiling of one house in roses. It was so beautiful. And I've got, in my kitchen, she wallpapered it, and she's been gone 20 years or more, and it's falling down now, and I haven't even got up there to paste it back on the wall. It's so embarrassing.
Well, I hope when you move from here, the next person can figure that out.
I guess.
Oh, that's a piece of memory, though, too, though. You hate to...
Oh, I don't want to get rid of that wallpaper in there. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean,
This used to be wallpapered. I scraped it all off and painted it because.
I mean, you could save a piece and frame it, I guess, and say,
Yeah.
"This is my mother's doing."
That's a very, very good idea.
A keepsake.
Oh, Tanya, you are just full of good ideas.
I'm a little like you. A little like you. We need tangible things sometimes to go with our.
Yes, too many tangible things. My gosh, just wait till you work it. I am determined to get through this stacks of paper because I don't want to take anything that I don't love to the new house on Southview. Yeah.
So that's going to take you a year or two.
Oh gosh, I know.
I shouldn't say that. It would take me that long.
Well, it's been taking me. I've been saying that for 10 years.
Well, at least you took time for me today. You could.
Yeah, I didn't want to.
You could be doing that.
You are very persuasive.
No.
I don't know.
Well, we've covered what I came to cover. Is there anything else we need to touch upon?
No, I just hope that the OLLI program, which I think is so important, I hope it will keep going. It's certainly, I think that the COVID years did do a number on us.
Yeah, I think the membership went down. I think that's what I've been told.
And we need an influx of energy, new people. And so far, we just don't have it. I keep saying, you guys have got to do it personally. Go to your Sunday school class and tell people about it. And they don't do it, you know? Yeah.
Well, people, I mean, PR itself has changed a lot too. Of how do you how do you get the word out?
Yeah.
Yeah, even in Stillwater, I think their membership is down, but being more on computers, I don't know, that can swing it. Some people don't want to sit and do that on the computers. They'd rather have the interactions.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I was not allowed until under the old regime. I loved her, but we were not allowed to put anything on the computer. I haven't asked, and I blasted out on my Facebook page because I've got hundreds of friends. And, and I think that is a good way to get the word out.
It is, yeah.
So,
yeah,
until I'm told not to, you could just erase that from your... I'm not being recorded now, am I?
Yes, you are.
Uh-oh!
But we can deal with it later.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I usually end with two questions then. What brings you joy today?
Oh, just about everything that doesn't hurt me physically. I'm very easy to, I get joy looking at that tree because those squirrels run up and down it and the birds come and build nests. And yet I know it's playing heck with my foundation, so it needs to come out. So with joy, there's always a little shadow, But being as old as I am, it's a joy just to be alive and able to walk somewhat, not be in a wheelchair. But if I am in a wheelchair, it gives me joy when I'm in a museum and my kids have to push me around. I love that. That's joy.
Okay, compare that to what, like back at your grandmother's, what would bring you joy as a young child then?
Oh, the gravel bars on a creek. I was such a creek freak and still am. I had cabins over on Roaring River. When I started working after I got my master's, I worked at the travel agency and the, library and the different places. Anyhow, I took all the money that my husband was such a saver, and I took all the money I could get my hands on and bought those Roaring River cabins, even though he was against it. And we used them. They were right on the banks. You could go to bed with the burble of the water, but it was high enough it never flooded. Oh, it's my daughter.
You want to pick it up?
Oh, it's over there. Okay.
Such a sweet voice.
Oh, she is sweet. I'm telling you. Yeah.
So you were still playing in the creek at that point?
Yeah. And that's what, I don't know. It's like whatever I missed in family, not having brothers and sisters, not having what you call a normal childhood. I put all of that into the joy I get. And when I lived at Forsyth, it was so small. It was like from a few blocks down the street. And then you had Swan Creek and the Shadow Rock swimming pool. I'm not a pool, a big deep place, and the rope swing. And I would do tricks off, and the tourists would sometimes, give me money so I could go up to the ice house and buy an ice cream cone. And I would just take off on my own on the creek because there weren't that many kids. Forsyth was so small, it took every child in town to play a game of workup in baseball. I mean, there just weren't that many. So I wasn't supposed to go to the creek by myself, but I never minded because I don't think they ever really knew nor really cared.
No one to tell on you.
No, that's right. That's right.
But you knew how to swim.
Oh, yeah, I was a good swimmer. Esther Williams was my favorite movie star. So I didn't learn how to do the regular face in the water. I did with my head up like a puppy dog, but I did the crawl. Oh, I was so proud of myself. Oh, dear. And there was my aunt's dog, Wolf, who would go with me sometimes. And I think he was trying to protect me. Yeah. I got caught once in a flash flood, but I survived. Yeah.
That was scary, though.
It really was.
Come down rushing.
The water, the water just started turning cold, and all of a sudden, the far bank was farther, and I was so scared I was at another rope swing up the creek, and I was afraid I'd get washed down into this. There was some baling wire in the creek, and it had caught leaves. Anyhow, it was kind of a scary place to wade around, And I was scared I would get caught in that baling wire and drown. Imagination.
But it could have happened, though.
But some guys came down, an old man and an old woman, drove their pickup down close to the creek and started dumping trash, which they do. And I was yelling, "Help, help." And they looked over and they said, "Oh, girlie, you can make it." And so I took off and I swam, and I was washed down a little bit. I got to the other side. And that was a horrible memory of my childhood. But
and they didn't tell your grandmother?
Oh, no.
They didn't even know who you were, maybe?
No, they didn't know who I was.
Okay, you lucked up twice there then.
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right, then my last question is, when history's written about Ann Cleary, what do you want it to say?
Oh,
how do you want to be remembered?
That I really had a good, long life. That I'm very pleased with all the family that I was able to have myself, because I am really blessed with my children.
Have you decided what you want as your epitaph?
No.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, some people already know what they want put on theirs. So.
No, but I cannot help it. Remember something funny. My high school English teacher, Mrs. Turnbow, she told us about this famous poem. And she said, on my epitaph, I want, she liked whate'er she looked on, and her looks went everywhere. And I thought, oh, that's nice. That pretty well describes me too. And it still does. But then I got to be grown up and go to college and learn that those lines meant that this woman was carrying on with men other than her husband, so I guess not. I won't have that on my epitaph, no.
I think mine's going to be, that's all, folks.
Oh, that's good. I remember those. Oh my gosh, our town had a library for a while, the first year after I moved back, and and then Bill Panay from Kansas City came down and turned it into a moving theater. And so the little room that was the Taney Hills Library, the Forsyth Library, suddenly became the projection room for the movie theater. I don't know where the books ever went, but I didn't get to have that library very long. Oh, I love libraries.
In your second life, come back as a librarian then.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Definitely.
And you're a good storyteller, so that goes pretty well with being a librarian too.
I don't know. I'm just rambled on. I feel terrible.
Nope, you do.
Embarrassed.
Thank you for letting me come.
Oh, thank you for coming, I think.